How does sound impact our biology? Let's get started. This is the fourth video in a series of 5 where I examine how we can use quantum biology for our health. And I've broken it down into what I call the pillars of quantum biology: water and the new phase of water that exists in living systems, light, sound, and frequency of the fields. This video is all about sound and how it impacts our biology. Now, we know from the work of cymatics. Cymatics is the study of how sound and the pressure waves of sound can work through materials such as water. And this work is pioneered by Hans Jenning. He was the first one to really look at cymatics, and he was taking metal plates and he would place sand or different material and play different frequencies of sound. And that material, whatever it was, sand, for example, would create this beautiful mandala picture, this beautiful pattern that was predictable and repeatable dependent on the frequency of sound that was being played. Now, this research has continued with the work of acoustic physicist John Stuart Reid. He actually invented the cymoscope, this incredible device where you can image a different frequency of sound and how it impacts water. And we know that water can be structured by sound. What is sound? Sound are pressure waves that travel through a medium, whether it's air hitting our ears and forming our auditory nerve, or whether it's sand like Hans Jenning was looking at, or water. Like we talked about in the second video of this series, water and the water that is lining our cells, our DNA, our microtubules, our fascia, it takes on a different structure than bulk water, and it can be informed and guided and structured by these sound waves. And each of these sound waves takes on a different characteristic. Each frequency holds a different pattern and a different effect on our biology. We know that sound impacts our nervous system, our vagus nerve, and our vagus nerve is primary in its role for how our inflammatory state is being regulated. And inflammation is a huge driver of our health or disease state in the body. Almost every single disease state we see out there is influenced by inflammation. Of course, inflammation is necessary. It's a necessary reaction to healing. But when it becomes chronic, that leads to many different symptoms and disease state that plays a part in the progression of disease. And so looking and tending to our inflammatory state is really important. And sound can play such an incredible role in our ability to address inflammation in the body. We know sound can impact our neurotransmitters, our hormonal states. We know that it can impact the oxygenation status of the body. There are so many things that sound impacts in our living body, our human body. It's absolutely incredible. And it is what I'm calling one of the pillars of how quantum biology impacts our health. We talked about water and light. In this video, we talked about sound, and stay tuned for the 5th and final video all about frequencies in fields, electrofields, magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields. Each one of these pillars has a predictable and repeatable influence on our body. And why is that? Because our body isn't only that chemical, mechanical model we learned in school. There is a language of frequency of light and color, the frequency of sound, the frequency of electricity and magnetism, of scalar waves, of our thoughts, and the coherence that we can build within our body, with the people in our environment, with the world around us. It's an absolutely astonishing new field of research that shows that we are much more than this chemical mechanical model. It doesn't negate that. It shows us that there's this invisible blueprint guiding life as we know it. And we are finally at a point where we can utilize this for our wellness. Circadian medicine, chronobiology, light therapies, sound healing, music medicine, cymatics and its effect on water. All of these things show us how incredible this impact of quantum biology can be on our health. So if you like this content as much as I like giving it, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the 5th and final video, all about how frequency impacts our living system. Thank you so much for joining me.